the Great Depression. Predatory lending in the form of subprime mortgages targeting low-income home buyers, excessive risk-taking by global financial institutions, a continuous buildup of toxic assets within banks, and the bursting of the U.S. housing bubble culminated in a perfect storm, which led to the Great Recession, which is it's just another term for that 2008 financial crisis.
Mm-hmm.
Mortgage-backed securities tied to American real estate, as well as a vast web of derivatives linked to those mortgage-backed securities, collapsed in value. Financial institutions worldwide suffered severe damage, reaching a climax with the bankruptcy of Lehman Brothers in September 15th, 2008, and a subsequent international banking crisis. The preconditioning for the financial crisis was complex and multi-causal. Almost 2 decades prior, the U.S. Congress had passed legislation encouraging financing for affordable housing. However, in 1999, part of the Glass-Steagall legislation, which had been adopted in 1933, was repealed. Hold on a minute, I do have a question about Lehman Brothers.
Let's see, what's the question?
They want to know more what the Lehman Brothers. I think that's how it's pronounced, Lehman Brothers. So, Lehman Brothers Inc. was an American global financial services firm founded in 1850. Before filing for bankruptcy in 2008, they were the fourth largest investment bank in the United States, with about 25,000 employees worldwide. They did business in investment banking, equity, fixed income, derivative sales, and trading, research investment, private equity, So yeah, they were involved all over the place. I'm sure you guys know the basics of investment banking, equity, fixed income, et cetera, et cetera.
Of course.
So I don't really need to go into that. I think the people here kind of understand that.
Side note, during this time, the Wii has been popular and booming in sales. All right, you may continue.
Well, actually, it's interesting that you brought that up, because I do think we can draw a direct link between sales of the Wii and the 2008 financial crisis. Because if you think about it, it's like there's a certain amount of money that people have, right?
Yes, a certain amount of spending money considering the situation going on.
Yeah, and
like even people were afraid to use their water outside their own home with the hose. It was that bad.
Yeah, it was. And yet, the sales of the Wii were skyrocketing.
Yeah.
So if you think about it, where was all the money going?
Certainly to Nintendo. That's for one.
Exactly. And funnily enough, Xbox and PlayStation actually went bankrupt in 2008.
Oh.
So, you know, it's just, I don't know. It's an interesting point. I don't know exactly where I'm going with that, but yeah, that's why those companies aren't around anymore, though, if you were wondering.
Rip. If only they made better games. Now, back to the point. 2008 was a really critical year in terms of the financial situation. Like, hold on. Okay. All right, continue. Yes. Hisa makes a great point. The link between the Wii and the financial crisis was the remote straps, because Wiimote straps actually were kind of faulty at times when you weren't using them, causing many TVs to be accidentally shattered, increasing sales of TVs at the same time.
Yeah.
In reality, the damages caused by the Wiis and their straps skyrocketed the housing crisis even further.
I see that Hisa's actually left a message saying TV sales were skyrocketing from the thrown Wiimotes, which is interesting because, you know, a little off topic, but I do think it's funny because it's like the Wiimotes were rocketed into the TVs.
That's what I'm saying.
It was called Rocket Wiimote Syndrome, actually.
Oh.
And people ended up in hospitals because of it.
Yeah, it was a bad time.
How was I personally affected by the 2008 crisis? So at that time, I was living in an apartment in Chicago, and I completely lost the apartment.
Oh,
I couldn't find it no matter where I went.
yeah, it just disappeared then.
And it was, I think it had something to do with the crisis. So
Yeah.
that's me personally. Were you affected at all? Because I know some people weren't, but I think most people were.
Yeah. During that time, the summer was actually particularly pretty hot. So I was outside, really wanting to go to the pool, but I couldn't. So what I did instead was lay down in the pavement, the straight up concrete, the black stuff.
Mhm.
I was sizzling. It was a weird sensation because like it felt like I was a Krabby Patty being flipped, but it didn't feel bad. It was weird, kind of enjoying being burnt. I don't know.
Yeah, and if you didn't have, if you had money, rather,
Yeah,
you wouldn't
you
have
have to go
been
through
able
that
to
length.
experience that. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a yeah asphalt. Thank you, D-Man.
So yeah, that's pretty much the gist of the 2008 financial crisis. I feel like we pretty much
Yeah,
covered it. I don't know if anybody else has any questions on anything.
yeah.
But yeah,
Oh, the economy? Who cares about that?
consequences. Um, I mean, just kind of look around at the way the world is today, because consequences, like the definition of consequences, is basically like something that
Yeah, it varies.
happens. It's like something that happens after another thing. And 2008 is before now. So if you look at now, you can just see the consequences.
Yeah, just take a look outside.
Yeah.
Ooh, what's a we? That's a tough question. Um, by chance, are you familiar with the term gaming? If not, gaming is something that occurred, let's see, about 40 years ago? It's been a while. Back then, it was a concept that was unfamiliar with many people. And by the time people caught on to the concept of gaming, it took on many forms, like card games, board games, gambling. That one still persists today. And more importantly, video games, which is what most people are familiar with today. I wouldn't say it's too popular though.
It is. Video games are kind of like an indie game. So yeah,
Yeah,
not a lot of people know about it.
it's like a hidden project that most people are
Yeah.
trying to go into.
Yeah.
It's a little unstable, honestly. Yes, please. One question at a time. How could PlayStation have gone bankrupt if they released Little Big Planet in 2008? Ooh, yeah. You see, that was their last ditch effort.
Yeah, I was gonna. That was like the last thing that they did. And if you want to take this one, go ahead. I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, go ahead.
Well, yeah, it was just it was their last ditch effort, like Bluenugget was saying, but it actually completely backfired, and it was like sort of the straw that broke the camel's back, if you will. And I don't know, I'm not a professional economist, but I have heard that if that game didn't come out, they might actually still be around today.
Yeah,
Um,
really, it's a
but
shame.
there's no way to say that with 100% certainty.
As for the other question, do I think gaming will cash? I wish it cashed. Will it crash? Honestly, Nintendo is putting in some plans recently. They might. It's hard to say. It could be a 50-50. It all just depends on what Nintendo might do next. Because they're basically the face of gaming at this point.
I do have a
indies.
question. How do I get a house? I've been living in an elderly couple's attic since 2008 and they still haven't found out. So that's actually a good situation to be in, believe it or not, because it's an elderly couple and
they won't even notice.
Yeah. And the thing about being elderly is unfortunately you do pass away sooner rather than later.
Yeah.
And when that happens, that's your house. So that's pretty much it. I wouldn't worry about your specific situation.
Just and if there's any difficulties, you could just say that you were adopted by them for all the transfer rights. It really is a cozy situation.
I gotta process this one for a second. The one she says, do you believe there's any correlation between the 2008 housing and financial crisis and the fact that 2010 was the first year in 10 years where the New Year's glasses couldn't have a double O or a double zero glass
Oh,
hole.
yeah, that was controversial, considering that there were 2 zeros. They could have made it work, but they never did it.
I think there's absolutely a correlation, but I don't know if
Yeah,
I can really comment on that.
I don't think we're experts in that field. I think that's a little too difficult for us to answer.
I do know, but I'm not at liberty to discuss it.
Yeah, we can't say anything without absolute certainty.
Mm.
Any more questions?
Thoughts on that GIF?
Truly unfortunate that Mario had to delay his death there, giving a little fraction of hope, but unfortunately it did not last. Ooh, tense. That's a great question. Yes and no. Yes, because honestly, people were buying a lot of tents at the time. But no, because you could just go into the forest and just hide it forever. Like, no, who's going to catch you? The police? No, you can just hide in the forest and live for free, at least for a time.
I don't think there's actually ever been a case where police have found anybody in a tent.
Yeah, once you're in a tent, they just can't see you. It's like
You know,
camouflage.
in a way, it's a little scary to think about because people could be getting away with stuff with tents.
Yeah, there could be a tent in your backyard right now. Who knows?
It probably is, but you're not going to be able to find it. So just keep doing what you're doing.
No, unfortunately, the housing crisis is unrelated to any divorce situations. My apologies. Nomad and his talk about apartheid. Not for this lesson, unfortunately. That'll have to be for another time. Shark Week in 2008. That's an interesting one. See, Shark Week back then wasn't as big as a sensation, but however, it was getting popular. I personally love Shark Tank, but I don't think too many people were a big fan.
Shark Week originally premiered on July 17th, 1988.
Oh.
Featured annually in July or early August, it was originally devoted to conservation efforts and correcting misconceptions about sharks.
Yeah.
I just thought you might want to know. That's just right off the dome, so.
Ooh, if the housing crisis was in the past, wouldn't that make it a house crisis? No, because people still aren't housed, as you can see. It's still an ongoing crisis. It's just that's 2 days when it started. Oh, peach rings. Like, I love gummy worms and nuts and next guy, but peach rings actually, they're just much better. The consistent flavor. Hello, Hisa from Florida. Let's see. Your dog didn't get his treats 1 week because we instead bought pizza. Ooh, save time on on dinner one night after work. Any explanation for this? Well, I would say that dog was pretty upset about not getting his treats. So that pizza maybe would have enjoyed a little bit of that tomato sauce goodness, but it's not hard to say.
Yeah, that is a kind of a complicated one. I do think you might want to buy your dog pizza regularly and see what he thinks about that.
Oh, yeah, I do think they might enjoy it. Oh, but don't trick your dog from eating broccoli instead. I heard they really hate that.
Also, I do have one from a little bit ago that I wanted to address. Do you think it's a little suspicious that in 2006 there was a Sonic stage called Crisis City, and then 2 years later there was a housing crisis?
Oh my goodness, I never even thought to put that together.
I think we're onto something new. I think we're onto something new here because I haven't thought about that either.
Did they plant the seeds?
That was D-Man who said that. So D-Man, I think you might be onto something, and you should kind of start investigating that a little more. Definitely get a group together, get some research going on that.
Yeah, please get back to us with that. That's an interesting concept. Do we like ham and cheese sandwiches, or are we a dirty sloppy Joe fan? You see, it's hard to make a good sloppy Joe, but once you eat a good sloppy Joe, it's hard to go back. But I know this is controversial. I don't like cheese on my sandwiches. I just like the ham and then anything else on it. Like a good sandwich for me is like ham, black pepper, mayonnaise, ketchup, and call it a day.
I think that sloppy joes feel like a child's food. I don't know why. I've
Ooh,
always
that's
felt
also
like
true.
that.
I actually
I
never
think
had one in
it's
like a
in
decade.
the category of like chicken nuggets or hot dogs.
Yeah.
It's like anybody can enjoy them, but there's an aura of child energy to it.
Okay. Boardman asked the question before I go to bed. What do you think happened here, and why it relates to the hard times people went through the 2008 housing crisis? Ooh, I I do think they fused, but I don't think they did it with their own will. So essentially, both souls got corrupted in this fusion, and it became a new entity.
I think. Well, let me see. I got to look at this for just a second. It could be related, yeah. I think I agree with Bluenugget that it wasn't a fusion of choice, but it could be more like we're going
Almost
through hard
necessity.
times. We got to do this to survive.
Yeah, too much food to buy. Not enough
Yeah.
not enough money for it.
Yeah. Two heads are better than one, except in 2008, where one head is better than two, and one body is better than two.
I'm at Arby's right now. What should I get, please? I've been here for 6 hours and need a decision bad. You should get anything with chicken. I know it's controversial, they have the meats, but the chicken's your best bet.
I agree, and this is not a joke, or I'm not making this up. I actually had Arby's for lunch today, and I did get a chicken sandwich for the first time, and it was
See?
pretty good.
Yeah, it's actually one of the best things. The roast beef's honestly like a wool in your eyes.
Yeah,
It hides the real greatness of Arby's.
I like the roast beef too, but I think the chicken was like, whoa, there's something better.
Yeah, it's a game changer.
Yeah.
And needless to say, those curly fries are great. Let's see. Would I take 500K or eat recession dinner with Jay-Z? Second form. Yeah, during the housing crisis? I don't know. That's a tough one. Because Jay-Z would have a lot of influence in general economics. But 500K on the spot during the crisis could help out quite a bit. I can't really choose.
I like meatball subs. Also, do you think the recession might affect their availability in sub shops? I don't.
That's a massive one. Did you know that back then Subway used to have a promotion for $5 footlongs, and if you go there now, it's nowhere near $5.
That is true.
I think there's a
And
direct correlation there.
That is a result of the 2008 financial crisis.
Yeah, they did their best to try to accommodate for it, but apparently it couldn't last. Would you rather have unlimited bacon but no games, or unlimited games but no games? I think I would rather have limited games but no games.
I'd take a little bit of both.
Yeah, you can have a little bit of both. Yeah, a little limited there, a little limited here. Let's see. Got to catch up on these. Can you read me a bedtime story? No, go to bed.
Good night.
Good night. Did the 2008 crisis have any effect on Christmas comeback crisis? Honestly, no. It didn't exist before. Christmas was fine back then.
Which cat gets to drink the orange juice first? Let me see.
Ooh, easy.
Well, it's such a small image that I feel like I'm gonna.
Yeah, but it's also number 4.
Myself.
It's the only one to open the open pathway after all.
True.
Who said 3? It's literally sealed shut. You fools. And even if it wasn't, it's not going to go there first. Dingus.
Does the 2008 crisis affect us Filipinos? Yes, it does.
Yeah, the switch was turned on permanently. Filipino mode will always be on.
Opinion on
Little Big Planet Grease. Ooh,
that I believe Little Big Planet was the one that we said was responsible for the end of PlayStation, right?
Yeah, I think they put too much grease on it.
No good. I don't like that grease.
Yeah, that grease is cursed. It's a little too greasy.
Smart fella or fart smella? That's for you to
Ooh.
decide.
Put me on the spot, huh? I'd say you're a fart fella, honestly.
Nah, that's not good, is it?
Yeah. Let's see. How much wood would a woodchuck chuck if a woodchuck could chuck wood? I'd say about 2. Because you don't really need that much wood as a woodchuck. Yeah, you're building a bridge with stuff, but you don't really need that much actual wood. You just find bits and pieces from the ground anywhere. The Dark Knight came out in summer of 2008. Using this correlation, finding 2 worlds here. In the alternate world where Batman Gotham City is existing optional, was real, or existed, do you believe his power, wealth, influence, and etc. would have an effect on the crisis? And if so, what would it be? I think Batman, if he were to use his powers and wealth for good, would be a great thing for the House of Crisis, but it wouldn't really last too far because there's vile villains across every corner. That being said, Batman's kind of a menace. I wouldn't really trust him to do it anyway. But that Bruce Wayne guy, I know he would do it on a heartbeat.
I do think, like tangentially related, the Joker in the 2008 financial crisis is something that we should kind of explore as a
Sure.
society. Just like a few movies or like a trilogy maybe about that would be good.
He also had the question about the woodchuck population. Let's see here.
Oh, that's a big one.
We have seen less woodchucks. I think if we were to see a resurgence of the woodchucks now, we would need a lot more wood for them to chuck. We need to supply them like with a standard supply of wood. We got to keep them going.
I do. So I see that you put a space in the word hardships, and I don't know if that was intentional.
Oh, they're building ships, all right.
Yeah, but I was gonna say I don't know if you realize they literally used their like hardwood, like the same material that you use for hardwood flooring, to build hard ships, and I think that's where a lot of the woodchucks have gone, because they can't afford housing here anymore, so they've gone overseas to wherever they may be.
I would rather have a Fortnite infant.
What's the other option? I didn't catch that one.
League son or Valor daughter.
Yeah, Fortnite infant.
We're going to take a quick recess for about 2 minutes. Get your final thoughts in order before we wrap this up.
By the way, there will be a short quiz.
Yes, you will be quizzed on
not
this.
immediately, but just be ready for it.
In the meantime, feel free to unmute your music. Okay. It turns out we may have a special guest joining us soon. It depends on the situation. But before that, let's see some of these final questions.
Hold on a minute. Let me turn this music down on my end.
Gotcha.
Is there a volume control, or is it just on and off?
I think it's just on and off.
That's unfortunate, because I do like it. Okay.
All right, from the top we have, let's see. Okay, from Woog. How much would you guys think that the Joker burning $1 billion in Dark Knight would affect the economy during 2008 the crisis?
So, I'm going to assume you mean just in the film, like fictionally, because the Joker's not real, obviously.
I wish he was.
Oh, of course, yeah, we all do. But yeah. So if there was like a scene maybe where he did that, it would have a tremendous impact.
Yeah. Like almost a Genshin impact.
Yeah.
As for the next question, Drain Gang Jesus. We have, again, GTA 4 and Little Big Planet came out in 2008. Are you sure the financial crisis was the most important thing ever that year?
Absolutely.
Absolutely. Like, what do you think GTA 4 is even about? Why do you think he's stealing cars?
Yeah, there's a lot of subtext there. I think people don't immediately understand.
Did you know that cars are considered by most people to be mobile homes?
Just like a tent.
Exactly. That's why they were so powerful back then.
Let me see here. A lot of two choice questions.
Yeah, it's really hard to make a decision on this type of thing. I will answer the Homestuck son of Dane Rapper Dog one. I'd say go for neither. Go for Yik. Just install Yik inside my bloodline. I think that's the best option.
Yeah, that's a good one. That's a solid choice.
Yeah.
MLG
Now
son
MLG or
or
MLG
Skibbity
son
Toilet
or Skibbity Toilet grandson. I'd say YouTube poop father.
I'd say like goofy poetry great grandfather.
Oh, yeah, that'd be nice too. What cryptocurrency would be best to invest in case of another future 2008 housing crisis? So if we were to go to 2008 again, I would say we invest in Robo NFTs. As you know, back then we made Robo NFTs, and those would really skyrocket in market value around now.
If you've heard of Dude Coin, that's also a good one.
Yeah, I remember Dude Coin.
Very solid option. Dude Coin is it's been on the down low lately, but it is making a comeback.
Wait, I think I have the spare Dude Coin right here. Hold on.
Let's see it.
I gotta go find it. Hold on.
Yeah, I'm having a similar issue trying to find my Dude Coin. I know I have at least.
Did I lose my wallet? It's got to be somewhere. Or it could be broke. Who knows? Darn. I can only find my useless real NFTs. Shame.
Gutsy Man poses a good question. He says, this is his final question, and he says, both of you seem to be large experts on this topic in particular, so I'll call on both of your expertise to try and predict the following. When will the siivacord market crash, and how can we delay the inevitable?
Ooh, that is a tough one. I'm roughly predicting around 2026, actually.
2026 would be like a year and a half from now.
Yeah.
I'm thinking more like 2008.
Ooh, I didn't even consider that.
Because I think we could have what would happen is we would have another 2008. And that's what's kind of scary about it, is it's difficult to predict because we don't know when the 2008 would happen.
Yeah, because that would require Obama 2.0 as well.
Mm-hmm. So that would be a prediction for when it would happen, and how can we delay the inevitable? I mean, we were just talking about like Dude Coin and the Robel NFTs, so that's absolutely a good way to work at that. Yeah, stocks and bonds too, but mainly the Dude Coin.
Mainly Dude Coin, of course. Let's see. Hey there, longtime fan. Short line Twizzler. 2008 recess. Airhead Loyals, huh? The mystery flavor. Ooh. You see, the thing about that mystery flavor, I think it changed multiple times over the course of 2008 from now. I think before it used to have a berry undertone, but now who knows what it is.
You know, I'm not going to entertain that.
Really?
Can we keep the questions on topic, please?
All right, that's fair considered. My apologies.
Up next, what would you do if you turned around and Slenderman was there? See, this is kind of what we're looking for.
Those 8 pages? Ah, man, what did I do wrong?
Yeah, I don't know what I would do, but I mean, maybe I don't know.
Honestly, I don't know. I think I'd just be dead. I think he would just take my food and go in. He would just get out of here. Oh, our special guest has arrived. Would you care to give your thoughts on the matter?
Hello, everybody. It is I,
Welcome.
the person that actually works in finance,
Incredible.
and also enjoyer of finance films such as The Big Short and Margin Call.
Raw.
Do recommend those, both good movies.
Have you seen The Dark Knight?
Ooh.
Yes, I have.
That's a good finance film.
Yeah.
Yeah, when he says half, I really,
Really hit the spot.
yeah. I don't know what's been discussed so far, but did you all know that mortgage-backed securities are still being used today in financial markets?
Hmm.
Very interesting.
It's a very unstable market too.
Yeah, for any, I don't know. I joined a little bit late, so I don't know what's actually been discussed so far, but
It's all good.
those are one of the main culprits of the market crashing, because banks, they basically, a common practice is you can buy someone's debt. So if somebody owes someone money, you can, I mean, not necessarily you, the investor, but other institutions can sell that debt to a different institution,
Mhm.
because they may want it off their books and they may not believe that the person has a great chance of being able to pay it. Or they may be able to make more money off of it that way because it's a high risk. And so what they did is they bundled these offerings of debt up into one security.
Mhm.
And because this debt was so low quality, since there's all these real estate agents out there, selling houses to people who couldn't afford it, and um, having these predatory loans where it's like a variable rate. It's fixed at a low rate for only a short period of time, and then it jumps up to a higher rate. Or if you miss a payment, it jumps up. And so these are bad mortgages. They're bad, low quality, low
Is this where
chance
the
of
term loan
you
sharks
getting
got a
paid out.
big boom as well?
I would think it would be a thing beforehand, but
But we were discussing
yeah.
Shark Week at the same period of time as well.
Ooh, very
And
smart,
the
actually.
Nintendo Wii does have a link. We did
Yeah,
discuss that as well.
we had a
Yeah,
big
a
link
link.
as well.
I do have a
Many
question
links.
though.
Mhm.
Just you were talking about debt and banks being able to sell it.
Yeah, sell it to another bank. Mhm.
So would you recommend listeners maybe try to get themselves into a lot of debt to make some money?
Ooh, I would say that's actually something that's very predatory right now, especially towards young people with these
Yeah,
products like buy now, pay later.
with the big drive of 90% of gamblers quit before they win
Yeah,
big.
it's really risky stuff. I don't recommend engaging with it at all, because it can really mess you up. If you're engaging with these, it's all fine and dandy as long as you can make the payments. But if you mess up once, they're going to have you in a bad spot. And also, the weird thing too is these buy now, pay later products, they actually do not report to credit agencies. So
Really?
some people may think, oh, you know what, I can just do this and get away with it. It's not going to impact my credit score. Who are they going to send to collect? But that has two problems. The first problem is when they sell your debt to somebody else, which they will do if you don't pay, that other person is going to, one, be able to come for collections, and two, they may actually report it to credit reporting agencies, which will cause a problem for both your credit score and also the fact that they may send collections after you.
Mhm.
Furthermore, the other problem with them not reporting it is that we lose more clarity on the state of our economy as a country. Like, we don't know what kind of economic condition we're in as well if people are in all this unreported debt. So that may come to be a real problem soon in the future.
Yeah, who is going to collect it?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, we missed a final follow-up from Gitza. Could the 2008 crisis have been prevented if Kendrick Lamar had released a diss track on the houses? Ooh.
That's not something I considered.
Yeah, we have seen his influence over the entire West Coast with his current diss track. So who's to say? Maybe the houses would have gotten canceled so bad that it would have fixed itself immediately.
Yeah, there might also be an angle for Taylor Swift here, because
Ooh.
she's notably lifted the economies of many small countries when she visits them. It brings in so much tourism that it's been like a notable boom.
Almost like a Michael Jackson effect back then.
Yeah, the king of pop.
Yeah, did you know that the king of pop himself stopped gang violence in Brazil while he was stopped there for his music video? He had more power than the country itself at that point.
He did it alone, just to clarify, right?
Just one man,
It was
yeah.
just him.
Yeah, he showed up and he said, "Stop violence."
Yeah, he stopped violence
unarmed. Yeah.
with a single wave of his hand. Incredible, man.
Mm-hmm. I got a question here, actually. Best way to get into real estate? Well, you
Ooh.
kind of can't right now, to be honest, because the main problem with the real estate market today is
Besides
that
getting real.
it's having a bit of trouble being real right now. I'll be honest, because
Yeah.
as we know, housing prices are massively inflated right now. It's hard to even be able to make a down payment, and not only that, but the interest rates, federal interest rates on loans, are incredibly high. So what that means is if you're trying to buy a house and you need to take out a mortgage because you don't have millions to just pay in cash on a house, who does that? The interest rates are going to be really high, and so what that means is that causes a twofold problem. One, it lowers the demand because people can't afford it, so they're locked out in that regard. But it actually also lowers the supply because people don't want to sell their current house, because if they have to go and buy a new one and take out a new mortgage, it's going to be at a higher rate.
Yeah.
Luckily, in the U.S., we have what's a standard here in the U.S., which is a gold standard. It's a 30-year fixed rate mortgage. That's probably what all of your parents have, where they lock in a rate and they get to pay that for 30 years. You can refinance, of course, but the real benefit of it is that it doesn't jump up when the Fed raises interest rates. That's something that's been happening in Canada and the UK. They have like 5-year variable rate mortgages, and it's causing a real problem. Imagine all of a sudden in 1 year your house payment doubles and you suddenly can't afford it. That's going to put you in a really bad spot.
And the issue with that as well is that some house owners have been manipulating that fact and selling double than what's actually there.
This is true. This is factually verified.
Yeah, so really I don't think you can get into real estate, or it would be very difficult to get into real estate.
The real question is getting out, honestly.
Yeah, I think we could all use a bit of fake estate, if you ask me.
Honestly,
there's a lot of that actually going around these days.
Well, with fake estate.
Oh, you mean like virtual houses and stuff like that?
Yeah, that's like a new frontier of
right. Yeah,
of
my friend Luigi was telling me about that he bought some more land, and I don't remember where he bought it, but he bought some land somewhere.
It's really a shame, honestly.
Yeah.
I do think there's also potential in. We've just discussed it a couple of times earlier, like going back to 2008 and trying to change things. Knowing what we know now, I think we could probably do a lot of things better. So I think we probably should look at getting like a team of people together to send back. I don't know. Do you have any thoughts on that?
Yeah, I mean, one of the things that we could definitely do is if we had more regulation on the credit reporting agencies, and also not just the credit reporting agencies, but the agencies that gave ratings on the mortgage-backed securities that are issued, such as Morningstar and Moody's, because one of the real problems is that they would be just giving these terrible risky assets the good ratings, because if they didn't give it a good rating, then their competitor would, and so it seemed like everyone was just being bought out.
Okay, so we're going to be able to go back to 2008 and kind of fix that.
Oh yeah, I definitely think so. I mean, if we are able to bring that info to light, that the credit reporting agencies and bond rating agencies are not doing their job properly, we might see some change in this country.
Personally, I think we should double down to make it worse in 2008. Because if we break it so bad, they might actually put better action into the housing market.
Yeah, if we upset people more, they'll do something about it.
And it wouldn't persist as long as it did today.
Yeah. And one of the interesting, spiral off effects from the GFC, the global financial crisis, as it's called, is that the Fed actually lowered interest rates to basically rock bottom, and they were sitting there for nearly a decade, or actually, yeah, pretty much a decade. And then in like 2018, they started raising them a bit, but then COVID happened and they dropped them right back down. So we had almost like 15 years of rock bottom interest rates, which actually contributed to a lot of the things that became so big with like little real financial reason to, such as crypto, such as like really poorly organized companies like WeWork and other startups that are getting funded with billions of dollars because all these people have basically free money since it doesn't cost anything to borrow. So
yeah,
it's really
just
interesting.
a lot of scams in general as well.
Yep, that's true.
Would you have any advice on getting yourself in maybe a worse financial situation for people who are doing too well? Yeah. I do know there are some people who are just doing too well.
Well, I would say the first step to ruin yourself financially would be to quit gambling because you're just about to make it big.
Yeah, you got to quit before you make it big.
Yeah, that would be the real error that you could make.
Mm-hmm.
That'd be the first thing that comes to mind for me.
I'd say the other thing that comes to mind is donations, right? Just donate as much as you can.
Oh, I got another one too. If you were to sell your shares of GameStop, that would be very foolish.
Yes.
You would lose out because when MOAS happens, you're basically, if you think about it, you're throwing away infinite money every time you don't hold a share of GameStop.
About that. The opposite of infinite wealth. Why do you think they called it that?
That's true.
I don't know how much you know about crypto, but we were talking earlier about Dogecoin.
Oh, yeah, it's actually one of the best.
Best. So I think if you were to if you had Dogecoin and you got rid of all that, that would be probably the biggest mistake of your life.
Yeah.
Which would be great if you wanted to end up in a worse financial situation.
Yeah, well, I'll tell you this. My Roth IRA that I have is invested fully into Dogecoin.
Let's go.
Because it's a Roth IRA, it's an after-tax account. So what that means is that when I sell my Dogecoin when I'm in retirement, because it wouldn't be a mistake to at that point, then I can use that my riches acquired from Dogecoin to
that's sick.
To live comfortably. Because it's in a Roth IRA, that means that you actually don't have to pay any capital gains tax on it.
Really?
So yes, that's one of the power of a Roth IRA.
Could you, because I know HSAs can be investable potentially. Mm-hmm. Would that be something that could work with Dogecoin, do you think?
I would have to look into that. I actually am not too knowledgeable about HSAs specifically, but it could be. It's definitely worth researching.
Okay. All right. I don't know if anybody else has any other questions on any of this stuff, but we've covered a lot. So,
any final thoughts?
I see D-Man clearing their throat.
I say we'll wait.
2 questions. Why we happen to miss them?
Oh,
let's see. What would you say is the best financial job? I don't really know, to be honest. There's definitely a lot of jobs out there.
I know McDonald's is really lucrative right now.
Yeah, the McDonald's finance officer is definitely a very respectable position. I mean, you could always start by like working at a local bank or something, see what they do there, learn the ropes.
All right. I think without any further questions, we're free to close out. Thank you all for. Hold on, D-Man. I don't think we do. I think he's done enough. Actually, no. I agree. Actually, hold on. Have you heard of the Zaxby's promotion of the Mr. Beast meal in Zaxby's?
I've
Would you
actually
think it's
never
any
had
different than
that.
his
I don't
own?
think I have. I've never heard of Zaxby's.
You never heard of
What are you talking about?
Zaxby's?
That's when I see it written, it reminds me of Arby's.
Ooh,
I've heard of it, but I've never
It's
had
like
it.
spelled in a way that I could
I think it's
mentally
Arby's younger
type of it.
brother. But I've enjoyed Zaxby's food. Coincidentally, they have the good meats. Mainly chicken, but good meats indeed.
Do you think Arby's and Zaxby's would ever like collaborate?
I wouldn't hold it against them. They're very similar.
These Zarbies.
Ooh, Arby's.
Zarlabees even.
Oh my goodness. With the Applebee's stuck in there too? That's genius. We got to write this down.
With that, I will be taking my leave.
Thank you so much for joining
All right,
us.
yeah, thank you very much.
Absolutely. Thank you all for
Absolutely, we
listening.
couldn't have done it without you.
Yeah, it's nice to have an expert in the field.
All right. See ya.
Good
Have a
night.
good one.
And with that, we will also close out for today. We will see you next time for our next topic, World War III. And we bid you good day. Good night.
Yeah. Thank you all for coming. And don't forget, there will be a quiz.
Yes, the quiz will be taking part soon. We'll make a thread for it, and we will be asking you questions about everything we covered today.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Take care, everyone. See ya.